somewhere else, but this is where we found ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to another edition of The Local Show. Guys, our season finale. Thanks for joining us. I'm Erik Skarvan, your host. I hope you've enjoyed our entire winter series, starting from Thanksgiving, wrapping up here on Easter week. Happy Easter on that note, guys. I hope you enjoyed the holiday weekend. Closing weekend of Snowmass, but we're still in our last week of ski season with Aspen Mountain. Through the week, now closing up on Sunday the 24th. I'm so excited to welcome back a friend of the show and also another friend of a friend. I want to welcome Anita Thompson and Peg O'Brien, both representing Owl Farm. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
And the Gonzo Nation. So we're going to talk about kind of Gonzo philosophy, Gonzo Nation. But first, I thought I'd talk about like how you two met, because you're longtime friends in Woody Creek and had shared a space in the community center almost 20 years ago, right, Anita?
Yes, it was after Hunter died 17 years ago. That next year, Peg is a physical therapist, and she had a physical therapy office, and George Stranahan and I shared an office in this. Looking at it now, it was close quarters, but it didn't seem like we were. We were great. We became, fast friends.
Yeah, it was a loft above the community center, and there was an open plan at that time before the renovation, so we felt part of everything going on downstairs and part of everything. I think George was getting going on the flying dog right then, and well, you always had a lot of things going on.
A lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot of fun things, and Anita.
Yes, and the Woody Creeker was born there, and George in my office, and that. Yeah, then we just started seeing you every day and hanging out. We've been hanging out almost weekly, daily since.
How cool
is
that?
All thanks to George, because he made the community center possible.
Yeah.
And because you had just moved from Carbondale?
I had just moved from Carbondale, so it was a wonderful way to splash down into the Woody Creek community with Anita and George, and it was really fun.
No kidding, full immersion with
Right.
those guys.
Full immersion. Right.
George was basically the mayor of Woody Creek.
Yeah.
Had the Woody
He
Creek
was.
Tavern.
Yes.
Had the his ranch, Flying Dog
Yes,
Ranch.
yes.
Which, by the way, a little trivia, I babysat for their son. Is it
Ben?
Ben?
Yes, you did. Of course you did. It's a
Little
small
hellion.
town.
I'm sure he turned out to be a great
he
man.
was a little creative hellion.
'Cause I whipped him down.
Piano, and trouble. Yes.
He was a troublemaker.
He was
We'd run
wonderful.
around after him around the little pool.
Yep.
They had him.
That's right. They
George's
had the
wife
outdoor
Patty.
pool.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I love those guys.
Yeah,
those guys
Patty
are
is
awesome.
still doing well. She's amazing. She George passed away this year.
Yeah.
This year.
Last year.
Oh, sorry. Well, in 2021.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it has not been a full year
Right,
yet.
right,
But,
yes.
and she's just amazing, so graceful, and in Carbondale. So we still see her sometimes in Woody Creek. We saw her at the tavern a few months ago,
And swing her golf clubs.
And her golf clubs. That's right. Owl Farm is now a driving range, thanks to these guys, Patty and Peg, because I wanted to learn golf. So I'd love for you to come and swing some golf balls, and
I
Jeremy,
love it.
you too.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fun to. I mean, it's so. Because Owl Farm has its own canyon. So the sides, it's 42.5 acres, and the sides. I'm so glad you brought it, because we played golf for Easter together.
That was so fun.
And and so it keeps the neighbors safe. There's no way a golf ball could go.
Right, because it's kind of enclosed.
It's enclosed,
Yeah.
and you can go as far. If
Now,
somebody
could
could
you-
ever hit it 42 acres away, I'd love to see that. But
Right away, I'm envisioning, though, like all of a sudden combining the shotgun shooting
I know
and the
the
driving
well, it's called
range.
shotgun golf. That
So
was
you could
Hunter's
drive-
last column. It was the last column he ever wrote.
No kidding.
A few days before he died, it was the shotgun golf with Bill Murray.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there is. You're not kidding. You're actually. I'm kind of.
I'm on the right track
predicting
there.
something. You are. Yes.
With that imagine.
Well, that was more of a Hunter's last column was actually more, and he wrote it in Woody Creek here in the valley. He knew it was his last column. We didn't, but it's really a commentary on the golden culture that will just end if there's no gun control. He never wrote that directly. Very rarely. He was more entertaining. That's why he's such a great writer. It's just about. If the gun culture continues the way it is, anything that's in our way, we'll just shoot it instead of cope or deal or vote, including golf balls. Anything that's a problem, just shoot it. But he managed to create a sport like shotgun golf to make that topic more fun to discuss. Yeah.
Boy, well, we want to get.
But anyway, Peg and I have just been driving balls into
I forgot why I was so. Now I
Yes.
remember why.
and to golf and do
Physically
any,
sore.
to golf with someone like Peg, who is a physical therapist. You can understand how not to get injured. And what.
At least
do.
you know how to work on yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly,
and her
right,
friend.
You got
right.
the soreness.
Yeah.
You got the effect
Yeah.
from golf. We
Yeah.
have so much to get to, ladies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even more updates on Owl Farm besides the golfing scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we want to take a quick break. I do want to thank our underwriters for making this series happen this winter, including Gonzo Nation, Haiti Children, Highlands Ale House, Klug Properties, Sport Obermeyer, Picken County Landfill, and last but not least, Sundog Athletics. Thank you guys for making this entire winter series each week happen, featuring inspirational locals, whether they're politically active, musicians, artists, entrepreneurs. We've had them all on. Thanks to you guys. Guys, we're only going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be right back. We have so much to get to, including how you can get involved with the war in Ukraine, how you can get involved with Gonzo Nation, so don't go away.
The Gonzo Foundation is a nonprofit organization created to promote literature, journalism, and political activism through the legacy of Hunter S. Thompson, and is a proud supporter of the local show and GrassRoots TV. For more information, visit thegonzofoundation.org.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
I'm Klaus Obermeyer, and I wish you a terrific winter on the Aspen Mountains.
Locally owned and located at the base of Aspen Highlands, Highlands Ale House features delicious scratch-made comfort food, cocktails, beer, and more. Their sunny outdoor deck is ski in, ski out. 2 miles from Aspen, they're open daily, winter and summer. Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school, is your opportunity to experience private, all-inclusive snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and fat biking instructional adventures that will improve your safety, performance, and enjoyment.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking with us here on the local show. We've got Anita Thompson and we've got Peg O'Brien from Owl Farm, Woody Creek, Gonzo Nation. Seems like, Woody Creek is like such a strong representation of what community means.
Yeah.
You guys are like, there's a lot of love down there.
There
You
is.
can feel it just from talking to you guys in the open of the show. And let's talk about that, because let's talk about like nurturing community and what's the best way to, whether it's the Woody Creek or Aspen or Roaring Fork. Really, Roaring Fork Valley has become more, I think, connected and more of a community as time has gone on. For me, coming up on 40 years living in Aspen. And let's talk about that. Like, Anita, what
Sure.
do you think about kind of, we're talking about like, say, repurposing our city hall, to maybe be a community center.
Sure.
You guys,
Community center, yeah.
what do you think about that, just in terms of nurturing community?
Well, two things. First, you mentioned your sponsors and Gonzo Nation, one of your, so it's our pleasure, and we thank you for years, so many years of this format to celebrate and promote community. We
Well,
really
it's my
thank you for
pleasure.
all your work, and also
It's my pleasure.
your work with Sundog Sports and keeping people safe and having fun on the trails and the road and and kayaking too, right now.
Canoeing.
I mean, sorry,
Yeah.
canoeing. Yeah, canoeing.
Just
No,
a
we
little
think-
longer and wider.
Yeah, keeping this community safe, like Peg does, and having fun.
Thanks
yeah.
for saying that.
No, we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it, and I think maybe that's kind of part of it. We cherish those. We sometimes maybe before COVID took it for granted. I did a little bit, and I remembered why I love Woody Creek so much during COVID. And I mean, it started with after Hunter died, and then it became more part of the community, and the community it gives you a safety net. Sometimes people get in your business when you have a small, tight-knit community. Everybody knows your business, and the gossip can be pretty high.
Yeah.
But that's a small.
Which could be good or bad.
Well, it's great
It's part of
when
community.
you need help. The community knows what you're going through, and they are there to support you, and we support each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you sense that?
I do, and the community in Woody Creek includes the trees, those
Good point.
cottonwoods
Good point.
that Hunter spoke
The
or
willows,
wrote
yeah,
about.
the willow-
yeah,
the willow,
yeah. And
Not cottonwoods,
It's
the
not just
willows.
people.
Or-
It's not just people.
It's not
It
just
brings
people,
in the
right?
environment.
It's the elk.
That's
and,
right,
You know,
yeah.
we
The
feel,
dogs.
It's a really
especially
good
with
point.
COVID, and now the birds this year are going insane in Woody Creek. I don't know if
Like
that's
the
true
osprey, that's
everywhere.
right. The
Yeah.
village, you guys have a
Oh yeah,
nightly
we have
viewing
the
of the osprey. Like they'll people
yeah,
like
the
eat
grand
popcorn
ole
and watch.
osprey every night at happy hour. But and without community, where are you? And so this does relate to what's going on in Ukraine, and it does highlight how important programs like this and organizations like the Gonzo Foundation
Sure.
and Owl Farm. I mean, if we don't have jewels, what are
The touchstones, like
settings?
the whole Stranahan.
Touchstones,
Yeah, without
Yeah.
George Stranahan, it'll take 100 people to do what one George Stranahan did, or more.
And Patty.
George, well, he started, and then
Yeah,
Patty
yeah,
came
for
in
sure,
and
for sure.
added
Yeah,
a
but
kind
I
of
just-
caliber
yeah.
to it. That
She would bring the good
yeah,
soup.
Yeah,
So what were
she
some of those
turbocharged it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what were some of those things like to drill down on this, like that George and Patty did? Like they
Good
had
question, yeah.
the Woody Creek Tavern, they had the community center.
All
So
about
some
community.
of that's infrastructure, right?
Manaus Fund, which was a huge.
Some of
Manaus
it
was
is
George
infrastructure.
Gathering
right.
places for people.
Yes.
So some of it is a place to gather because George used to say, without a heart,
Good point.
you know,
a
you
center.
don't really have community. And Patty's motto, now I'm paraphrasing, so talk to Patty, but
You can speak
is
English.
keep it light and
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
And, you know, there's no
And
more
food.
considerate person. And
Food and
Patty always
vibing
made
and
sure
food is
there
very
was food.
important.
That's
Yeah.
literally nurturing. With,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
So
people
food and
gather.
drink
Yeah, the
and
heart.
friends.
That's a heart
Yeah, an open
concept.
place. Yeah.
For dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where people discuss things.
So part of a solution is more of those types of places, right? Where we're
Yeah.
seeing an exodus of a
Yeah.
lot of these kinds of places.
Yeah.
You know, especially in Aspen, where we saw the closure of Sukasa and that whole
Right,
complex this
right.
last weekend. The
was
departure of Sky Gallery. I featured Sky
Yes,
Wine Glass
yes.
on the show 3
Yes,
weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
you're
So
seeing
happy.
some of this exodus, not to be negative, but to say
It's too
really what's
expensive.
happening and
Yeah.
how can we respond.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, we can't, wisdom is recognized we can't stop some of these things from happening.
Right.
I can't stop a landlord from charging what they're going to
Right,
charge.
right.
And then their renter has to leave because they can't pay it. But what can we do to respond? Like, what would be some, like, concrete solutions to gain more gathering places
Yeah.
for a sense of community, you know, nurturing, nutrition, food and drink, and those kinds of
Without,
elements?
yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, without the community center, for example, what are you asking what to do when you don't have a community center?
Yeah.
And that's a really good question right now, especially since COVID. I just received an invitation to the congressman who's running against one of the congressmen. I just got it, and it was an invitation at somebody's home. And I said, that could be a great way to do, and so I got this idea just now. We just do agree on, we had this a few years ago, actually. Every Monday, meetings at different homes. It's like a
Okay.
rotation of homes.
Very
to
cool.
keep I'm just,
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a way to have a sense of community where you actually have a time of, same time every week or something. And make an effort.
So
is
it's
my point.
like a program, organized program where you meet at people's homes,
Something
set
like
time
that.
each week. That could be part of a
I
solution.
guess that's kind of a caucus meeting, but
Yeah, but it does take a lot more effort.
effort.
Compared to when we had a community center, everyone just showed up and you'd figure out what time certain people went for coffee, and if you wanted to talk to
Sure.
that person, I mean, we hardly ever called anyone.
Right, that's a
There
really
was
good
no
point. Yeah.
texting. We would just show up and talk to them. It was so lovely. And if you
It
felt like
created
being
a-
social, you'd be in the front, very social.
Yep.
You'd be outside, like a front porch
Sure,
type thing.
sure.
And if you had work to do or a meeting, you'd be in the back or then later
read a
on
book.
upstairs.
Yeah, read a book
and
by
of
the
course
fire.
the books from Pickett
Sure.
were incredible. But something like that in Aspen would be wonderful. And we don't have that now, and it does.
Yeah.
We still work hard to get together, but I know it takes a lot more effort.
Yep.
Yeah, like you have a great place outside.
Sure.
I have lined
you-
up thrift shop chairs out front of my place just so that people,
And we'll go
if
gather.
it does
and we do.
happen, we do have a spontaneous place to gather, where before we could rely on the community
So
center.
do you see that being recreated in Woody Creek? I
No.
mean, do you see like the community center being recreated, or
well-
do you see that more in Aspen with the
Well,
just the amount of
no,
spaces
right now
we
the
have
community center
available?
is not on the table. But with like for example, with the historic designation of Owl Farm, which will allow me to move out of the house, to be able to afford to move out of the house and build my own separate dwelling on the property, like a cabin, separate cabin. So the museum can be more open to the public, not on a daily basis, but it can be a gathing place. It's a
planned-
great place,
Okay. right,
a
planned
more planned
gathering.
thing. So where there's the museum part, but the books and the yard to play ping pong. We played ping pong 1,000 times, and we're playing golf. But and we've had great, not since COVID really, but that kind of thing. Like just bringing it up is really helpful. To make a plan.
So
Yeah.
talk about the historic designation, because that can lead to a lot of opportunities.
Right. Thank you.
Gatherings,
Yeah, thanks for
place,
asking.
museum. So that creates a lot of opportunities.
Yes, I was going to ask you later because I have a good relationship with Post. The original plan when I bought Owl Farm from my own trust was to work with Post, where they would purchase. But that now I'm working with a federal registry because that opens it up for more national platform.
Okay.
And some maybe grants in the future that might help because we have to find a way to keep hunters home. In the black, not keep it, get it into the black. Eventually, the bills where it's not cheap living here, as you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of acres to take care of and protect. But we just submitted the application. They're having the first hearing tomorrow. I'm very excited.
So that's like a national historic
It's a
designation,
national
like
historic
a landmark.
landmark. It will be a
Okay.
landmark. It's not just the home with Post. I was just referring to the hunter's main home, but they're considering the entire property.
Oh,
So
very
that means if
cool.
something, one of my fears, if something ever should happen to me, right now it's not protected in some, the way things go in this valley, I'm worried that it would just be leveled and a McMansion would be built on it.
Yeah.
And people would say, oh, that would never happen. That's Hunter Thompson. But that's not true.
Yeah.
That land is so valuable and it's coveted. I mean, it would just be a perfect place for a McMansion, and that's my fear. So having a historic designation
Right.
would protect
That's
it.
important.
If something should ever happen to me, nobody could ever tear it down or demolish it in any way.
Right.
Except God. But
So
which happens.
that's in the process.
That's in the process. That's been
and
the
that
plan
could be
for
a
a long
great
time.
opportunity
Sure.
for community to gather.
Yeah, gather once a week or something.
The
by-
museum
Yes.
aspect to be kind of developed and preserved. The whole property to be preserved.
Yes, yeah, and the recording studio in the basement for the authors and for the musicians and the writer in residence, because it has enough bedrooms that. Oh, do you hear the dog? I hear a dog. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. We just
We
keep
love
going.
dogs.
We just keep going.
Yes, it's. Sorry, I just got thrown
The
off for a
historic
sec.
designation in the basement.
Oh, in the basic because like musicians are art writers often, and they have the same trouble any other writer does, is that they get distracted and they get into routines in life that they just need to break out of that writer's block, and that's where Owl Farm and there are many places like Owl Farm where it has a history of a great writer who used to live there, man or woman, and in Hunter's case, it's Hunter. So there has enough bedrooms and it has enough space. It's actually a huge cabin with 5 bedrooms, where a band can come and recalibrate their vibe and their energy to work together on songs and record together. So that will be fun. Hunter loved music so much; it was such an important part of his writing process.
Yeah.
And then audiobooks too for authors to record.
Well, it's interesting because I know you guys have had musicians stay there.
Yep.
Johnny Depp
Yes.
stayed there, obviously.
Yeah, Johnny's room is still
writers, authors, journalists.
Yes.
One interesting thing, you mentioned the music, and I've got a quote from Hunter about music. Music has always been a matter of energy to me, a question of fuel. Sentimental people call it inspiration, but what they really mean is fuel. Yeah. So he had a love of writing. He had a love of sports. He had a love of music.
Yes.
And you guys can nurture those things. And currently, well, pre-COVID, obviously we took a break during COVID from hosting people.
That's right.
And that kind of thing. But that's part of the Owl Farm,
It is.
kind of value and philosophy is encouraging and nurturing the creativity,
It was like a French
right?
salon, and the ideas flowed among people. And it's still when we get together in groups, it promotes it, having all the books around you and that history. And there's an inspiring flow at Owl Farm. Hunter loved it for a reason. We don't love it only because Hunter lived there. There's something really magical about it. Yeah. Dion and Buffalo Child, they came to visit and they felt the energy. He's from his tribe. He's Native American. His tribe is from northern United States, but he understood right away. And that was really neat to see that it's not my imagination. It's real energy there.
Yeah.
Peg is
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
And the peacocks.
and the peacocks, of course. The peacocks stay. We have ravens, and they're building a nest right now.
You're sitting there with writer's block. You look out the window. You see the mounds. A peacock jumps up onto the windowsill, and you're like, "Okay, I'm inspired.
That's
The
right.
vibration is good." Right?
Sure, and just the ability to be off the grid if you want, and just
it's such a wonderful.
Sure.
The whole location.
Do you
It's
have
actually one of the
places-
places I love to go road bike back.
I was
Not
just
to-
gonna
not
say,
to talk
you-
about that too much, but
Right.
No, I was just going to say,
it's
do you
quiet
have your
back in that little neck of the woods.
places
and
that
so
you
pretty.
do you have places because
love it.
Peg was a big hiker as well. You have places where you go to be inspired.
Oh, yeah. Well, at the end of Woody Creek, where it turns right, where you park after Lanedo,
Yes.
Oh, of course, yeah.
there
Go
is
on.
something
Lanedo
about
area.
that value. Yeah, that whole.
I lived
Woody
up in
Creek
that
Trail,
area for a
yeah.
while, actually, with a
You did?
lady who had a teepee up there.
Cool.
Sally Pierre. I'll
Right
just say her
on.
name. Shout out to Sally if you're watching the show.
Yay.
She lives on the other side of the country now. But yeah, I got to hang out up there one summer. Absolutely
That
loved
must
it.
have
It
been
was
magical.
just kind of above, kind of above the cabins up there.
Sure.
As you go
Along
up the
the
road, and
river?
her teepee was kind of sitting up in the left on the
Nice.
creek. And anyway, that whole area is magical up there.
Yeah.
But I also want to expand our conversation out to Ukraine because you've got family.
Yes.
And you were recently in Poland, and I wanted to be
My
able to
mother's.
touch on that.
Yes, thank you for asking. I'm back home. I will go back next month just to work with some of the groups that are helping. Because I went to Poland because my father was Ukrainian, mother Polish, and my half sister lives in Kiev, and she made the agreement with me finally. She didn't want to leave Kiev, but the shelling and the bombings were so incredibly scary for all of us that she did agree to come to Poland. She didn't want to come to the United States. She wanted to stay close. Her boyfriend, her mother is there who decided to stay. Her boyfriend had to stay. 16 to 60-year-olds have to stay, and this is one reason why she almost felt that she's incredibly brave and smart, this girl. She's 17, her best friend 18. Wow. And she said, why, young 16-year-old boys need to stay and fight. Why can't I stay? And I said, please just don't ask those questions. I don't just get out of there. But she's back now, and back in Kiev. She's unpacking her bags as of today. She just got back with her best friend because it's safer now. But that whole, 6 weeks that she was here in Krakow was, I was just so grateful to everybody. And one thing with Peg, I had to make some arrangements, like with the Owl Farm Trust and with my animals, and Peg was stepped up, and I'm so grateful. I wouldn't have been able to go if it wasn't for Peg.
Because you're a trustee of
yes,
Owl
exactly.
Farm, Peg.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness.
Yeah, but
Anita
anyway,
is back.
exactly. No, the whole community, because it's good to leave Owl Farm for 2 or 3 weeks is a huge undertaking. It's a community event. I mean, with all the clothes that the suitcases cases of clothes for the refugees. All came from the community and Target.
What are some ways now we're
And the thrift shop.
And the thrift shop,
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
picked out
Speaking
a bunch
community.
of hats and scarves, and they found out what I was doing with them, that I was giving them to you to bring over to Poland, and they said, "Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you
really?
just take
Oh,
them."
that's
Of course.
awesome.
See, that's
Oh,
the
I
girl.
was weeping.
So the Aspen
Just
Thrift Shop
wonderful.
donated
Yeah.
items to
that makes
take over
sense.
there.
Yes.
And the women at the Aspen
Yes.
thrift
What are
shop.
some other ways
Yes.
people can, like locals who are watching the show, can get involved, or even people outside the valley?
Sure.
What are some ways that you would suggest?
Well, I suggest two organizations. I love the Red Cross and I love these big muscle organizations, but two that I know personally, I interviewed. One is Sean Penn's CORE. That's,
Okay.
I mean, I trust every level of that organization that your money is going to get onto the ground, boots on the ground. And the
Okay.
second boots on the ground organization is very important to me because I've interviewed, when I was in Kiev in 2014, I interviewed one of their shelters, and these people are volunteers and animal lovers like us. They work hard, and they're the real deal. Your money is going not to offices and chandeliers, but it's going to food and volunteers and shelters. They've donated, and moved already 4 to 5 tons of food.
What's the name of that one?
Harmonyfund.org.
Harmonyfund.org.
Yeah, journalist turned activist.
And then Sean Penn's is at CORE.
CORE. Respond. There is, you know what? I wish I would have been more prepared for this. So sorry. Maybe I could put a link because core.com I think is not. It's coreresponse.org.
But they could, Google under Sean Penn's.
Donate to the right one because there are some imposters. But it's core with the infinity sign.
Okay, ladies, if you have fun on the show, we're out of time, but we'll have to
Thank you.
carry on our
Thank
conversation
you.
this summer.
Let's do it. We welcome you to Alva Farm. Yeah.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
Oh,
That sounds good.
Okay, we'll do some off-roading. You can show us. Thank you.
I'd love
you
it.
can show us how.
Thanks for your time, ladies. Thank you guys for watching this week and this entire season of The Local Show.
The Gonzo Foundation is a nonprofit organization created to promote literature, journalism, and political activism through the legacy of Hunter S. Thompson, and is a proud supporter of The Local Show and GrassRoots TV. For more information, visit thegonzofoundation.org.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school, is your opportunity to experience private, all-inclusive snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and fat biking instructional adventures that will improve your safety, performance, and enjoyment.
Welcome to